I watched my wife get arrested in our divorce hearing after I showed the judge one document. But what destroyed her wasn't the prenup she thought she'd forged. It was the security footage of her switching it the night before she killed my father. That's a hell of a way to start a story, I know. But stick with me. This spans 12 years, gets darker than you'd expect, and somehow ends with hope. Content warning. We're talking about suspected elder abuse and murder. It's heavy, but it needs to be told. Per the rules, names are changed. I'm Rob Mitchell, 44. She's Melissa, 41. We were married 12 years, 2 kids, Sophie, 7, and Michael, 5. My family's ranch, 6 generations, worth 8.5 mawasers, 3,000 acres of Montana cattle country that my great-great-great-grandfather homesteaded in 1889. My father died 4 years into our marriage, or so I thought he died naturally. Turns out I was wrong about a lot of things. Melissa was my everything. Met her when Dad got sick back in 2014. She was his ICU nurse at St. Vincent Hospital. She seemed like an angel caring for him during the worst time of his life. Beautiful, compassionate. She'd stay late just to sit with him, read him the newspaper, make sure he was comfortable. We fell in love in that hospital, got married fast, 6 months after they met. 3 months after Dad came home for hospice care. We built a life on that ranch, raised our kids there. I trusted her with my dying father, with my children, with my family's legacy. Was the life we built. Timeline. Met Melissa in 2010 when Dad was hospitalized with stage 4 lung cancer. Married in 2011. Dad died in May 2015. Divorce filed April 2023. We built something real, or so I thought. The Mitchell Ranch wasn't just land, it was history. My great-great-great-grandfather staked his claim in 1889, survived the winter of 1887, built the main house with his bare hands. Every generation since had added to it, improved it, protected it. Dad spent 60 years of his life building it up from 1,200 acres to 3,200. It was supposed to be forever. Sophie Grace was born in 2016, Michael James in 2018. They'd ride horses before breakfast. Sophie could rope a fence post by age 5. Michael knew the difference between a Hereford and an Angus by their 3rd birthday. That ranch was supposed to be theirs someday. Their inheritance, their legacy. We had Sunday dinners in the same dining room my grandfather built in 1952. Same table. Melissa would make pot roast, Dad's favorite. We'd sit there 3 generations when Dad was alive, talking about the herd, the weather, plans for spring calving. It was perfect, or so I thought. The first cracks, April 2023, 8 years after Dad died. 8 years of what I thought was a good marriage. Melissa came home from book club at 11:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Hair slightly messed up, makeup smudged. She'd been going to this book club every Thursday for 6 months. I was on the couch, couldn't sleep, watching some old Western. How was it? Oh, you know. She wouldn't make eye contact, went straight for the stairs. Same drama, Karen's going through a divorce. What book are you guys reading? Long pause. She was halfway up the stairs. It's a romance. You wouldn't like it. I'm a rancher, not an idiot. Something was off. That's when I started noticing things. May 2023. The phone. Melissa started taking her phone everywhere. Bathroom, shower. I thought maybe she was watching videos while getting ready. A lot of people do that. Didn't think much of it. But then I'd see her checking it at dinner, during our kids' bedtime stories, at Michael's t-ball games, always checking, always smiling at something on that screen, always flipping it face down when she noticed me watching. June 2023, the appearance. By June, her whole appearance changed. New clothes, expensive ones. Started wearing makeup to run errands. Doing her hair for trips to the feed store. When I complimented her, she'd say it was for herself. I'm allowed to feel good about myself, Rob. Fair enough, I thought. Supportive husband. Idiot. July 2023. The shifts. July came and Melissa started working extra shifts at the hospital, 2-3 nights a week. She'd been working part-time, but suddenly she was full-time plus. We need the money for Sophie's braces anyway, she said, so I supported it. Took care of the kids solo those nights, made dinner, did bedtime, Woke up at 5 a.m. to check fence lines, came back to get the kids ready for school. I was being the good husband, the fucking idiot. August 2023. The cold August, the affection stopped. No more goodnight kisses. In bed, she'd turn away, phone facing her chest, scrolling something I couldn't see. I'm just tired, babe. Every night. Just tired. When I'd try to initiate intimacy, she'd flinch. Actually flinch. Like my touch disgusted her. September 2023. The flinch. By September, she'd flinch every time I touched her. Every single time, shoulder, hand, anywhere. Whooping like my hands were poison. You okay? I asked one night. Yeah, why? You just seem distant. I'm not distant, I'm exhausted. Do you know how hard it is working full-time and taking care of this house? I did most of the housework, but I didn't argue, just nodded. October 2023, the receipt. October, I found a hotel receipt in her car. I was looking for the registration paperwork because we needed to update the insurance. Found it in the glove box, steakhouse dinner, Sullivan's, 180s. I checked our credit cards that night after she went to bed. Not on any of them. November 2023, the humming. November, I caught her humming in the shower. Happy, genuinely happy. She hadn't been happy around me in months, but in there, alone, thinking I couldn't hear. Happy. It was a Thursday night in November. Melissa came home at midnight from book club. How was it? Fine. She went straight to the shower. Didn't even kiss the kids goodnight. They were already asleep. Her phone was on the kitchen counter, face up. A text notification lit up the screen. Can't wait for tomorrow night. Tell him you're working late again. Contact name. Brandon. That's when it hit me. The hospital emoji. Brandon. I knew that name. Dr. Brandon Hayes. Works in the same hospital where Melissa works, where Dad died. My stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. I stood there for 5 minutes, staring at that phone, feeling my entire world tilt sideways. I heard the shower turn off. I set her phone down exactly where it was, went to the living room, sat down, stared at the wall. Melissa came downstairs in her robe. You coming to bed? In a bit. Need to finish something. She kissed the top of my head. Don't stay up too late. I sat there until 3 a.m., just thinking, processing, knowing. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I was going to find out the truth, all of it. The investigation. I did what any betrayed husband in 2023 would do. I Googled it. How to catch a cheating wife. Signs of infidelity. What to do if you suspect an affair. I went down a rabbit hole. Reddit threads with thousands of comments. Are surviving infidelity. Are divorce. YouTube videos from private investigators. Articles about evidence gathering, legal implications, what holds up in court. I learned about phone records, spy apps, GPS tracking, social media forensics. I felt like I was preparing for war, because I was, but I had to be smart. One wrong move, and she'd know. She'd delete everything, lawyer up, control the narrative. I needed to be invisible. Social media deep dive. I scrolled back through Melissa's Facebook posts from the past year. Every single post, every comment, every tagged photo. There was a pattern. Girls' nights out, but the same guy appeared in half the background photos. Cropped out mostly, but there. A shoulder here, an arm there. Comments on her posts. Lots of them. Great pic. You looked amazing at the gala. So fun working with you. All from the same account. Brandon Hayes. I clicked on his profile. Age 45. Single. Recently divorced according to a post from 2022. Works at St. Vincent Hospital, cardiology department. Drives a BMW, lots of gym selfies, douchebag vibes immediately. Group photo from the hospital Christmas party, December 2022. Almost a year ago. He was standing next to Melissa, his hand on her lower back, her leaning into him. Too familiar. I tried to view more of his profile. Already blocked. Why the hell would I be blocked by Melissa's coworker if they were just colleagues? Phone records. We're on a family phone plan. I'm the account holder. Has been that way since we got married. Easier for the ranch, all our numbers under one account for the business. I logged into the carrier website, pulled up 6 months of data. Holy shit. Starting in April 2023, a number I didn't recognize appeared, at first 3 times a week. Just calls, 10 to 15 minutes each. By June, it was daily, multiple calls. By September, it was multiple calls per day. At 11:30 p.m. while I was asleep. At 6 a.m. before I woke up. During my lunch breaks when I was out checking the herd. I ran the number through a reverse lookup site. Brandon Michael Hayes, age 45. Works at St. Vincent Hospital, Cardiology Department. Lives at Riverside Apartments, Unit 308. Bingo. But the message content wasn't in the records, just times and frequency, metadata. I needed more. I needed to actually read what they were saying to each other. That's when my buddy Tommy told me about monitoring software. He'd used it during his own divorce 3 years back. Said it saved him in court. I won't name the app, but I installed it on Melissa's iPad, the one we share for family stuff. It was synced to her iCloud without her realizing it. All her messages, emails, everything that touched her iCloud account would mirror to my laptop. Within 2 days, I was reading everything. And what I read made me want to throw up, but I didn't. I screenshotted every single thing. I documented everything. I saved it all to 3 different places. External hard drive in my truck, cloud storage only I had access to, and printed copies locked in Tommy's gun safe at his ranch. Because I was going to need every bit of this. The Discovery, November 18th, 2023, 2:15 a.m. I couldn't sleep. Melissa was snoring softly beside me, peaceful, content. I was staring at the ceiling, heart pounding, feeling like I was going insane. I grabbed my phone, opened the monitoring app, new messages, recent, from an hour ago. She must have texted after I fell asleep. Melissa. He has no idea, still thinks I'm working overtime. Brandon, when are you going to leave him? We've been doing this for 8 months. Melissa. Soon. Need to make sure I get the ranch and the divorce. It's worth millions. Then we can be together for real. Brandon. You're so fucking smart. He's clueless. Melissa. Always has been. Married him for the ranch anyway. Once his dad died and everything transferred over, I just had to wait for the right time. I dropped my phone. It clattered on the hardwood floor. Melissa stirred next to me. Babe, you okay? I couldn't even look at her. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Bathroom, I managed to say. I got up. Went to the guest bathroom downstairs, locked the door, sat on the floor, and I broke. For 4 days I was a ghost. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think straight. I'd go through the motions, feed the cattle, fix fence, come home, make dinner for the kids, but I was just a shell. I'd look at Melissa making breakfast for Sophie and Michael and see a stranger. This woman who I'd given 12 years to, who I'd trusted with my dying father, who was supposed to be my partner, my best friend, my forever. Married him for the ranch anyway. Like I was just a means to an end. A stepping stone. A wallet with a pulse. A useful idiot who served his purpose. Melissa knew something was wrong. Kept asking if I was okay. You feeling sick? You look pale. The fucking irony. Just a stomach bug, I'd say. I'll be fine. She'd bring me soup, play the concerned wife, touch my forehead to check for fever. You should see Dr. Morrison if it doesn't get better. I'd just nod, go back to staring at nothing. At night, alone in the guest room where I'd been sleeping for 3 nights straight, I cried. I'm not ashamed to say it. I fucking cried. 44 years old, sitting on the floor in the dark, crying like I was 12. Day 5, something shifted. I woke up at 5 a.m. like always, fed the cattle, checked the fence line on the North 40, came back, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I wasn't sad anymore. I was fucking pissed. Melissa didn't just cheat. She'd been planning this for months, maybe years. Married him for the ranch anyway. Once his dad died and everything transferred over, I just had to wait for the right time. Like I was a mark, a con, something to be exploited and discarded. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to divorce her quietly. I wasn't going to let her walk away with half of my family's legacy because she fucked her coworker and played the system. I was going to expose everything, make sure she got nothing, absolutely nothing, and then I was going to figure out what really happened to my father, because something else was bothering me now. something I'd buried for 8 years, something that text message dragged up from the darkness. Once his dad died, and everything transferred over. Dad died May 2015. The doctors said his cancer progressed faster than expected, went from 6 months to a year to dead in 8 weeks. 8 weeks where Melissa was his home hospice nurse. 8 weeks where she had access to his medications, his medical equipment, his vulnerability. I opened my laptop, started searching through old files, found Dad's will, the prenup, the transfer paperwork for the ranch, and something clicked. The planning. I spent 6 days researching, not just divorce anymore, comprehensive destruction. I found this quote on a Reddit post about infidelity revenge. The best revenge is served cold, with a paper trail and in front of witnesses. That became my mantra. Here's what I knew. She thinks I'm clueless. That's my biggest advantage. She has no idea I know. She's still texting Brandon right in front of me, confident in her deception. She wants the ranch. $8.5 million and 3,000 acres. That prenup Dad made us sign, she thinks she switched it with a fake. I needed to find out if she actually did. She's been careful. 8 months of deleting messages from her phone, using her work phone for some conversations, creating alibis with friends. She's smart, methodical. I had to be smarter. My advantage, time, patience, and a dead father who might have seen this coming. I made rules for myself. Document everything, screenshots, photos, recordings where legal. Montana is a one-party consent state. I can record conversations I'm part of. Don't confront yet. The moment she knows I know, she lawyers up and the evidence disappears. Act normal. Academy Award performance. Keep her comfortable. Keep her talking. Investigate the prenup situation. Something about Dad's death bothered me now. Protect the kids. They don't need to see this until it's over. This wasn't just about catching Melissa cheating. This was about protecting my father's legacy. My children's inheritance. And if she really did something to Dad, that changes everything. The evidence binder. I created a spreadsheet. Every late night at work, every book club, every girls' weekend. Cross-referenced with her credit card statements, GPS data from her car. We have tracking for ranch safety purposes, ironically, and the hospital's actual scheduling system. George Patterson, our family attorney, got me access through his connections on the hospital board. Turns out they have records of when employees badge in and out. I had an 8-month map of every lie, 143 documented lies, over 200 hours unaccounted for, digital evidence screenshots, over 300 of them. Text messages with Brandon discussing their affair in explicit detail. Photos they'd sent each other. Thankfully nothing involving my kids, but plenty of them together. Social media interactions I'd missed. Google searches on her iPad. How much is community property in a divorced Montana? Can wife get half of inherited property? Montana prenup enforceability. How to prove husband is abusive. That one made my blood run cold. I backed everything up to an external hard drive that I kept in my truck. Then another copy at Tommy's ranch. Then uploaded everything to a secure cloud storage that only I could access. Organized by date and severity, color-coded, cross-referenced, financial trail. I pulled credit card statements going back 8 months. Hotel room and billings, 20 to what was charged to our joint card. The date? October 12th. Melissa told me she was at her sister's in Bozeman that weekend. Lingerie from Victoria's Secret, the 156, I'd never seen any of it. Checked her drawers when she was at work. Nothing. Dinner at Sullivan's Steakhouse, $180. She told me she worked through dinner that night, grabbed fast food, but there it was, 2 entrees, bottle of wine. She was literally making me pay for her affair, using ranch money, my father's money, my grandfather's money, to fuck her boyfriend. Witnesses, I quietly reached out to some of Melissa's friends, casual questions over coffee or at town events. Hey, how was book club last Thursday? Her friend Rachel looked confused. What book club? We haven't met in months, Rob. I thought you knew. I moved the book club to Sunday afternoons back in June. Oh, Melissa must have her days mixed up then. Rachel frowned. Mixed up for 5 months? That's when I knew some of her friends weren't covering for her. They genuinely didn't know. She'd been lying to everyone. Location data. Our vehicles have GPS trackers, standard ranch safety protocol. If someone breaks down out on the property or in the middle of nowhere, we need to find them. November 10th. Melissa said she was working late. Her car was at Riverside Apartments for 6 hours. Unit 308. Brandon's building. November 15th. Running errands in town. Her car sat at a Motel 6 on Highway 90 for 3 hours. Middle of a Tuesday afternoon. Timestamps, coordinates, undeniable. By late November, I had everything compiled, printed it all out, 380 pages total, tabs for each category, timeline, digital evidence, financial, witnesses, location data, photos. Most damning evidence highlighted in yellow. Cover page, Mitchell v. Mitchell. Evidence of adultery and fraud. It looked like a federal prosecution case file, because that's exactly what it was. Investigating Brandon. I needed to know who this man was, what kind of person destroys someone's marriage. My marriage. I found everything. Brandon Michael Hayes, age 45, divorced 2 years ago. His ex-wife filed, citing serial infidelity. Found that gem in publicly available court records. No kids, thank God. Lives alone at Riverside Apartments, Unit 308. Drives a BMW 540i that, according to a credit check George helped me run, he's upside down on the loan by $18,000. Works as a cardiologist at St. Vincent. Makes about $350K a year, but lives like he makes double. Expensive restaurants, golf club memberships, that BMW, designer clothes, and all his social media photos. His social media was a gold mine. Typical midlife crisis content. Gym selfies with captions like, "Earn this pump." Photos at expensive restaurants tagging Melissa in some of them. Not her face, but her bracelet visible. One I'd given her for our anniversary. Wine tastings, golf trips to Arizona recently. Photos with Melissa at hospital events. Her laughing in his Instagram stories. Comments from their mutual coworkers. "You two are so cute together." They weren't even really hiding it from their circle. The blocking was premeditated. He'd blocked me on everything, not just Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. He knew who I was. He'd blocked his mistress's husband. This wasn't a spontaneous affair. This was planned, calculated. He knew about me from day one and didn't care. I found his mother on Facebook. Betty Hayes, age 72, lives in Great Falls, about 2 hours north. Devout Catholic based on her posts. Recent post about the sanctity of marriage and honoring thy father and mother. Her profile picture was her at church, holding a Bible. Bio: Blessed Mother of 3, Grandmother of 5. Matthew 7-12. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Oh, I had plans for that. I also looked up St. Vincent's workplace policies. George pulled them for me through his board connections. Clear as day. Romantic relationships between employees must be disclosed to HR. Failure to disclose may result in termination. Relationships that create conflicts of interest or utilize company resources inappropriately are strictly prohibited. I screenshot everything, printed everything, added it to the binder. This wasn't just about Melissa anymore. If I was going down, Brandon was coming with me. The father investigation. But something else kept nagging at me, that text message. Once his dad died and everything transferred over, I called George Patterson. I need Dad's medical records, everything. Rob, what's going on? You sounded strange on the phone. Just get them, please. I'll explain when I see you. 2 days later, George called back. I got them, but Rob, there's something here you need to see. Come to my office, now. I drove to town. George's office is above the feed store on Main Street. Been there since the 80s. Dad used him for everything. George handed me a thick file, medical records, but also something else. 2 days before your father died, he came to my office. Could barely walk, but he insisted on driving himself. Brought the original prenup, said Melissa had been acting strange around his medications, said she kept offering to help with doses, kept asking questions about the will, about the ranch transfer. My hands started shaking. He wanted me to hold on to the real prenup, said he didn't trust her. Then he told me something else. George pulled out a small SD card. He said he was installing a security camera in his room, one of those nanny cams hidden in a picture frame. Said if anything ever happened, if Melissa ever tried to claim the ranch, to give you everything. A memory card? You've had this for 8 years? Your father made me promise not to tell you unless she came after the ranch. He said, George, if I'm wrong about her, Rob never needs to know I suspected anything. But if I'm right, he'll need proof. Well, Rob, she's coming after the ranch. George slid the SD card across his desk. You should watch this alone. My computer, door locked. Take your time. I watched it 3 times. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, couldn't process it. The video was dated April 28th, 2015, 2 days before Dad died. The camera was hidden in a picture frame on his nightstand, one of those digital frames you can load photos into. Perfect hiding spot. It showed his hospital bed, the door, the medication table, timestamp 2:15 a.m. The door opened. Melissa entered quietly, checked the hallway behind her. Dad appeared to be sleeping, his chest rising and falling slowly, morphine drip going. She walked to his bedside, checked his pulse with 2 fingers on his neck, looked at the door again. Then she pulled a syringe from her pocket. Oh my God, I whispered. She checked the door one more time, then injected something into his IV line. The bag, not the port, harder to detect that way. Dad's eyes opened slightly, unfocused, drugged. Shh, Bill, just more pain medication. Go back to sleep. But the label on the syringe, when she turned toward the nightstand to dispose of it in the Sharps container she'd brought, I could see it clearly. George had already enhanced that frame, paused it, printed it. Propofol, 200 milliliters. That's not a pain medication, George said quietly. That's a surgical anesthetic. In high doses, especially with his already compromised respiratory system from the cancer, Dad died 36 hours later. Complications from cancer progression, the death certificate said. Respiratory failure. The video continued, showed Melissa looking around Dad's room systematically, opening his nightstand drawer, finding documents, the prenup. She read it carefully, page by page. Her expression changed from neutral to angry to calculating. Then she pulled out an identical-looking document from her purse, carefully placed it where the original had been, took the original, folded it, put it in her purse. She looked at Dad one more time. He was sleeping again, breathing more shallow now. She left. George, my voice was shaking. What am I looking at? I think your father suspected Melissa was hastening his death, so he set up the camera to document everything. He got the real prenup out before she could take it, came to me the next day, gave me everything, told me to keep it safe, told me if he died within the week, I'd know he was right. My father knew she was killing him, and he used his last 2 days to protect me. He loved you, Rob, more than his own life. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The room was spinning. We need to call the police. Not yet, George said. Let her file for divorce first. Let her make her claims. Let her commit fraud in court. Then we drop this. Because if we go to the police now, she'll lawyer up immediately. But if we wait, if we let her perjure herself in court, claiming that prenup is valid, trying to take the ranch, then we have her on fraud and potentially homicide. The criminal charges will be airtight. You want me to wait? I want you to destroy her completely, the way she deserves, the way your father would have wanted. Acting normal. From late November to early December, I became an actor. Oscar-worthy performance. I kissed Melissa goodbye every morning, asked about her day, cooked dinner, helped Sophie with her homework. She was struggling with long division. Went to Michael's last t-ball game of the fall season, cheered when he got a hit. We even had sex twice. I initiated, because that's what normal looked like. It made me physically sick. I had to think about other things to get through it, but it kept her unsuspecting. I watched her text Brandon right in front of me. She'd smile at her phone. I'd ask, "What's funny?" "Just work stuff." Brandon sent a meme about Dr. Richards. That's nice. I'd go back to my own phone, internally documenting, taking mental notes, feeding the anger. Some nights Melissa would come home at 11 p.m. from her shifts. I'd have dinner waiting, reheated, plated nicely. "How was work, babe?" She'd tell me elaborate lies about difficult patients, emergency surgeries she'd assisted with, Drama in the break room. I'd nod, ask follow-up questions, sell the performance. Meanwhile, I knew exactly where she'd been. Riverside Apartments, room 308, with Brandon. Here's what she didn't know. I had already consulted 3 divorce attorneys. I had already filed paperwork to secure the ranch. I had transferred $50K from our joint savings to an account only I controlled, legally mine, inheritance from Dad that I'd deposited there. I had already changed my life insurance beneficiary from Melissa to a trust for Sophie and Michael. I had already scheduled meetings with a family therapist to help the kids through what was coming. I had proof she'd forged legal documents and possibly murdered my father. I was 9 steps ahead at all times. But to her, I was just her oblivious husband, going to work, coming home, being Dad, being us. Tommy asked me once during this time, sitting on his porch after we'd moved some cattle, "How are you doing this? How are you going home to her every night?" I took a long pull from my beer, stared out at his property similar to mine, generations of work, legacy. My father taught me patience. You don't rush when you're hunting. You wait for the perfect shot, one kill, no suffering for you, clean death for them. I looked at him. I'm waiting for the perfect shot. And when's that? Christmas morning. I had a present for her. The execution. December 1st, I changed. Not dramatically, not all at once, but enough that Melissa noticed. Week 1, distance. I stopped initiating affection. When Melissa would kiss me goodbye, I'd turn my head slightly so she got my cheek instead of my lips. When she'd text during the day, "Love you, have a good day," I'd reply hours later, "Busy with cattle." I started staying late at the ranch office, going over paperwork that didn't need going over, coming home at 9 p.m. instead of 6, missing dinner, making the kids eat without me there. Melissa noticed. "Everything okay? You're working late a lot." "Yeah, just end-of-year paperwork, tax stuff. You know how it is." Same vague bullshit she'd been using for months. Week 2, cold shoulder. I started sleeping fully on my side of the bed, built an actual pillow wall down the middle, ridiculous but effective. Started eating dinner with the kids before Melissa got home from her shifts. When she walked in, I'd barely look up from helping Michael with his coloring. Food's in the oven. The irony? Melissa started trying harder. Wore lingerie to bed. The stuff I'd never seen before. The Victoria's Secret charges. Stood in the doorway in a red negligee. "You coming to bed?" I pretended to be asleep on the couch. Cooked my favorite meal, pot roast, like Dad used to love. "I made your favorite." "Thanks, I already ate at Tommy's." She was confused, hurt even, hurt. The fucking audacity. Week 3, the 180. This is a technique I learned on Reddit. The 1H80. Completely flip your behavior. Make them feel what you felt. Become mysterious, unavailable. Make them paranoid. I started going to the gym at 5 a.m. Never been a gym guy, always got my workout from ranch work. But suddenly, I'm at the gym. New routine, bought new clothes. Not much, but enough that she noticed. New jeans, new boots, a nicer jacket. Started saying I had plans without elaborating. "Where are you going?" she'd ask. "Out." "Out where?" "Just out. I'll be back later." I'd go to Tommy's, or just drive around, park somewhere and listen to music. But she didn't know that. Let my phone face down on the table at dinner. When it buzzed, I'd smile, just slightly, and ignore it. Started taking random trips to town for supplies and coming back 3 hours later. Melissa started to panic. I could see it building. Questions got more frequent, more desperate. "Who are you texting?" "Friend." "What friend?" "Just a friend from town." "Since when do you have friends in town besides Tommy?" "Since whenever." "Why?" "You're being secretive." "I'm being secretive? That's rich." Week 4, paranoia. Peak. By December 20th, Melissa was a mess, paranoid, suspicious, desperate for my attention. She started accusing me of cheating. The projection was almost funny. "Rob, are you seeing someone?" "What?" "You're different. You're distant. You never tell me where you are anymore. You don't touch me. You barely talk to me." "Maybe I'm just tired. You know how that feels, right? Being tired." "That's not... Rob, are you having an affair?" I looked her dead in the eyes, let the silence stretch. Then, Why would you ask me that? Because you're acting exactly like someone who's having an affair. Interesting that you know what that looks like. She went pale. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. It means nothing. I stood up, grabbed my jacket. I'm going to check on the cattle. It's 9 p.m. Cattle don't care what time it is. I left her standing there, shaking, panicking, 8 months of what I'd felt, compressed into 4 weeks. Christmas was 5 days away. Everything would come crashing down. Christmas Eve. December 24th. Christmas Eve. Traditionally, the Mitchell family spends Christmas Eve at my mom's ranch. Her place is about 30 minutes south. Big family dinner, Jen and her husband and their kids, my mom, sometimes cousins. 6 generations of gathering on Christmas Eve, then everyone goes home, and Christmas morning is immediate family only. This year, I called Mom. We're not coming. What? Why not? Melissa's not feeling well. We're going to have a quiet Christmas at home. Rob, are you sure? The kids will be fine, Mom. We'll see you the day after. She was disappointed. I heard it in her voice, but she understood. What Melissa didn't know, I had already filed for divorce, December 18th, documents held by my attorney. Papers were being served, December 25th at 10 a.m. I had already told Sophie and Michael a simplified version. Mom and Dad are going to live separately because Mom made some bad choices. We both love you. This isn't your fault. Sophie and Michael were going to Mom's ranch tonight after bedtime, spending Christmas night there. I had already removed Melissa from all ranch accounts and property deeds. George handled it quietly. I had scheduled movers for December 26th to pack up her belongings. The binder was wrapped and under the tree. That evening, Melissa tried to make everything festive. Cooked prime rib, expensive, special occasion, put on Christmas music, decorated sugar cookies with Sophie and Michael. They were laughing, having fun, not knowing tomorrow their world would change. I went through the motions, smiled when appropriate, helped Michael ice a cookie that looked like a blob. "It's Santa!" he insisted. Sure it was. Ate dinner, complimented the food even though it tasted like ash in my mouth. We watched It's a Wonderful Life after the kids went to bed. Our tradition for 12 years. Sitting on the couch, Melissa leaning against me. At 10:30 p.m. she turned to kiss me. "Merry almost Christmas, babe. I love you." I looked her in the eyes and said, "Merry Christmas, Mel." I didn't say it back. She noticed. I saw the flicker of concern, the little crease between her eyebrows. "You okay?" "Just tired." "You've been tired a lot lately." "Yeah, I have." She went to bed. I stayed on the couch. Told her I wanted to wait for Santa, code for setting out the kids' presents. I did set them out. Sophie's new saddle, Michael's new bike, exactly what they'd asked for. Then I placed the binder in front of the fireplace. Red ribbon, gift tag. To Melissa from Truth. I sat there until 2 a.m., watching it, knowing what tomorrow would bring. I didn't sleep at all. Christmas morning, December 25th, 7:15 a.m. I heard Melissa's alarm, heard her get up, heard her go to the bathroom, then start down the stairs. She always woke up early on Christmas, like a kid herself. I was already downstairs, sitting in the armchair, waiting. She came around the corner in her robe, smiling, eager. Then she saw the binder. Her smile faltered. "What's that?" "Open it." "Rob, what?" "Melissa, open it." She walked toward it slowly, knelt down, untied the ribbon with shaking hands. Opened the cover. The first page was a printed text conversation, her and Brandon, from December 20th. Melissa, "He's acting so weird lately. I think he suspects something." Brandon, "You're paranoid. He's clueless. Always has been." Melissa, "I'm serious. He's different. Cold." Brandon, "Babe, relax. After you file in January, we'll be together. He'll never see it coming." She dropped the binder like it was on fire. "I can explain." Page 2. Her hands were shaking violently now. She flipped the page. Credit card statement, hotel room charge, October 12th, 220 us. She told me she was at her sister's that weekend. Page 3. Photo, her and Brandon, outside Riverside Apartments, his arm around her waist, kissing. Timestamp, November 15th, 8:43 p.m. "Rob, please, you have to listen." Page 10. I stood up, walked over. leaned down and flipped to page 10 myself. Timeline, 8 months documented. Every book club, every late shift, every girls' night, every single lie, mapped out chronologically. April 15th, first phone call to Brandon, 15 minutes. April 22nd, lunch at Sullivan's. She told me she was at work. May 3rd, first hotel stay, on and on. 143 lies, proof for every single one. Page 25, text to her friend Ashley from June. I'm only staying until I can get the ranch and the divorce. Rob's too stupid to see it coming. Once I get my half, Brandon and I are moving to Arizona. That's when Melissa started crying. Real crying. Mascara running, snot. Ugly crying. Please, please, Rob. We can work through this. I'll end it. I'll do anything. Please don't leave me. Page 50. Her journal, the one she kept hidden in her car. The one I'd photographed page by page while she was at work. Entry from June 15th, 2023. Brandon makes me feel alive in a way Rob never has. Rob is just there. The boring rancher husband who smells like cattle and talks about fence lines. But I need to play this smart. If I can get half the ranch and the divorce, at least for 4 millimeters, Brandon and I can start over. California, maybe. Or Arizona, somewhere warm, somewhere far from this frozen hellhole and Rob's suffocating family legacy. Just need to wait until the timing is right. Build my case. Make sure I get what I'm owed. What you're owed. My voice was calm. Too calm. You're owed nothing. Page 380. Final page. My divorce filing. Date stamped December 18th, 2023. Already submitted to the court. She collapsed. Actually fell from her knees onto her side on our living room floor. No, 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 no. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll end it. I'll never see him again. Please don't leave me. Please. I let her cry for exactly 1 minute. Timed it on my watch. Then I said, "There's more." She looked up at me through her tears. What? The doorbell's about to ring. Right on cue, like clockwork, ding-dong. 8:00 a.m. exactly. She looked at me, terror in her eyes. Who is that? Process server. Merry Christmas, Melissa. You've been served. I walked to the door, opened it. Nice woman, about 50, professional looking, even on Christmas morning. Are you Melissa Ann Mitchell? Melissa tried to run. I'm not kidding. She literally tried to scramble up off the floor and run upstairs. The process server has seen it all, though. Ma'am, you're being served divorce papers. You can take them now, or I can leave them here on your porch. Either way, under Montana law, you're officially served. I took them from her. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. She nodded. Professional, left. I closed the door, turned around, held out the papers. Melissa was sitting on the floor, sobbing, shaking, destroyed. Here's your Christmas present. She didn't take them. I set them on the coffee table. Where are my babies? Her voice was raw. Where are Sophie and Michael? They're safe. They're at my mother's ranch. They spent the night there. You turned my children against me. I told them the truth, in age-appropriate language. Mom made some bad choices. Mom and Dad are going to live separately. We both still love you. They don't know about Brandon. They don't know about your plans to take the ranch. That's on you whether you tell them more. That seemed to break something in her. She slumped against the wall, staring at nothing. I went upstairs, grabbed my already packed bag from the closet, came back down. She was still sitting there, broken. You have 48 hours to get your personal belongings out of this house. I've hired movers. They'll be here December 26th at noon to help you pack. The locks change on the 27th. The binder is yours to keep. It has copies of everything. Your lawyer is going to tell you not to bother fighting this. I have texts where you discuss hiding assets and defrauding me in the divorce. That's illegal. You fight me, everything goes public. Your family, your friends, your coworkers, everyone will know exactly what you did and who you are. I walked to the door, hand on the handle, turned back. Oh, and Melissa? Brandon is getting his own binder today at his mother's house in Great Falls, where he's having Christmas brunch with his very Catholic mother, who posts about the sanctity of marriage. I had it delivered this morning, along with a cover letter explaining to Betty Hayes exactly what her son's been doing. Direct quotes from his texts about you, including the ones where he calls her a judgmental old bitch for asking why he got divorced. I'll never forget the look on her face. Horror, realization, the understanding that I'd destroyed not just her, but him too. Merry Christmas. I left. The aftermath. Christmas Day. I went to Tommy's ranch. He'd offered to let me stay there however long I needed. Cracked a beer at 8:30 a.m. Fuck it, it's Christmas. Put on the good, the bad, and the ugly. Turned my phone off for 2 hours. When I turned it back on around 11 a.m., it had exploded. 52 missed calls from Melissa. 16 text messages from her. Please call me. We need to talk. Rob, please. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Don't do this. Think of the kids. I blocked her number. 7 messages from her mother. How could you do this on Christmas? She's devastated. Call me immediately. I replied. Ask your daughter what she did for 8 months. Check page 143 of the binder, where she writes that you're overbearing and she can't wait to move far away from you too. Merry Christmas. Then blocked her. 11 messages from her sister Rachel. Long text about forgiveness and working through problems and thinking of the children and everyone makes mistakes. I sent her screenshots of pages 50, 52, the journal entries, including the one where Melissa wrote, Rachel would kill me if she knew about Brandon. Good thing she's too self-absorbed to notice anything that doesn't directly affect her. She still thinks I'm the perfect little sister. Rachel stopped texting. 2 messages from my mom. The kids told us everything. They're safe here. They're confused but okay. Are you okay? I'm proud of you for telling the truth. That took courage. Come by later when you're ready. Your sister is here. We love you. Finally, someone asking if I was okay. I called her back. Thanks, Mom. I'll be there this evening. I love you too. 3 messages from Jen. About fucking time. I never liked her. Bring the good whiskey when you come over. That made me smile. 1 message from an unknown number turned out to be Betty Hayes, Brandon's mother. Mr. Mitchell, I received a package this morning. Is what's in here true? I called her back. She answered on the first ring. Mrs. Hayes, every word is true. Every text, every photo, every receipt. All time-stamped, all verified. Your son knew Melissa was married, knew about me, knew about our 2 children, ages 7 and 5, and he pursued her anyway. They've been planning to take my family's ranch, my father's legacy, and start a new life together. It's all documented in that binder. Silence. Then I heard her crying. My son destroyed your marriage. Your son and my wife destroyed my marriage. But yes, he knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't seduced. He wasn't tricked. This was calculated, planned. They were going to wait until she got millions from me in the divorce, then run off together. More silence, more crying. Then, Mr. Mitchell, I am so very sorry. I raised him better than this. I taught him about honoring marriage, about integrity, about treating people with respect. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know this person. I'm not asking you to do anything, Mrs. Hayes. I just wanted you to know the truth about who your son has become. He's not welcome in my home anymore. I want you to know that. What he did is unforgivable. I'll be praying for you and your children. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect that. Thought she'd defend him, make excuses. Thank you for telling me, Mrs. Hayes. I appreciate your integrity. I'll be praying for your family, Mr. Mitchell, and for my son's soul. We hung up. 15 minutes later, Brandon called. Unknown number, but I knew it was him. I answered. What the fuck did you do? His voice was shaking, rage, panic. Merry Christmas, Brandon. How's brunch at your mother's going? You sent my mother that binder? You fucking psycho. This is harassment. I'm calling the police. It's all true though, right? Every text, every photo, every hotel receipt. That's not harassment, that's documentation. Call whoever you want. I have 8 months of evidence. You want to involve law enforcement? Great. Let's talk about how you used hospital resources to conduct your affair with a coworker. Let's pull up hospital email systems. I'm sure there are some interesting messages there. Melissa told me you're crazy, that you're controlling and abusive, that she was afraid of you. Really? Is that what she said? Because I have texts where she tells you I'm boring and predictable. Not abusive. Boring. Page 89, if you want to check your copy. Get your story straight with your mistress before you call me again. This isn't over? Actually, it is, for both of you. See, there's one more copy of that binder. St. Vincent Hospital's HR department gets it tomorrow morning. Company policy. Section 4.2.3. Workplace relationships must be disclosed to HR. Relationships that create conflicts of interest or utilize company resources. Immediate termination. Hope you've updated your LinkedIn, Doc. You're going to need it. I hung up. Blocked him too. December 26th. The deeper discovery. The next day I sat in George Patterson's office, same chair I'd sat in a month ago, when he first showed me the prenup and mentioned the camera. You ready to watch the full video? There's more than what I showed you before. There's more? Your father recorded 3 nights. I only showed you the worst one, but you need to see all of it. He loaded the SD card into his computer. 3 video files. Dates: April 26th, April 28th, April 29th, April 26th, 2 nights of injections. Melissa entering around 2 a.m. each time, checking Dad, administering something into his IV, him briefly waking, her soothing him back to sleep. April 28th, the prenup switch. I'd already seen this one. April 29th, 1 more injection, but this time Dad was more alert. His eyes opened fully when she came in. Melissa? Shh, Bill, just your medication. What are you giving me? Pain medication, doctor's orders. You're in pain, aren't you? I don't think. Bill, trust me, I'm a nurse. This will help you sleep. She injected it into his IV anyway. He was too weak to resist, too confused from the drugs already in his system. Within minutes, his breathing became more labored. She watched, just stood there and watched his chest rise and fall, slower and slower. Then she checked his pulse, made a note on the chart at the foot of his bed, falsifying it, documenting that everything was normal, and left. He died 6 hours later. I was at the hospital when it happened, held his hand, watched him take his last breath. I thought it was the cancer. It wasn't the cancer. George, my voice was shaking. What am I looking at? I think you know what you're looking at, Rob. She murdered him. I can't say that. I'm not a doctor. But what I can say is that your father suspected she was hastening his death. He documented it. And now you have proof that she administered medications that were not prescribed, did not disclose them, falsified medical records, and your father died within hours of the final dose. We need to call the police. Now. Not yet, George said firmly. Listen to me. If we call the police now, she'll lawyer up immediately. The divorce becomes secondary. She'll claim you're retaliating, trying to frame her, using the divorce to make false accusations. It becomes he said she said, or, in this case, dead man said she said. Even with the video, a good defense attorney will create doubt. So what do? We let her file her response to the divorce. Let her make her claims about the prenup. Let her commit perjury in court, claiming the prenup you have is the real one, that she never switched anything. Let her lie under oath. Then we present the video. The prenup fraud is undeniable. Once we have her on fraud, which we can prove beyond any doubt, then we bring in the potential homicide evidence. The fraud proves she's capable of deception. The medical stuff is the cherry on top. You want me to wait while she's walking around free after what she did to Dad? I want you to destroy her completely, the way she deserves, the way your father would have wanted. Your father spent his last 2 days setting this trap. Don't waste his effort by springing it too soon. I sat there, shaking, thinking about Dad, those last weeks, how much pain he must have been in, how scared he must have been, knowing his daughter-in-law was killing him, using his last moments to protect me. How long do I have to wait? Her response to the divorce is due in 30 days, January 25th. The hearing for preliminary matters is February 15th. That's when she'll have to address the prenup issue under oath. That's when we strike. 51 days. I could wait 51 days. For Dad. January. The social fallout. By New Year's, everyone knew. I didn't post anything on social media. Didn't have to. Other people did it for me. Melissa's friend Rachel, the one I'd sent the journal entries to, posted a vague book on Facebook. Sometimes the people you think you know best turn out to be strangers. Disappointed doesn't even begin to cover it. Comments flooded in. What happened? You okay? DMs, phone calls, the gossip mill of a small Montana town. By January 3rd, someone had put the pieces together. Melissa's suddenly filed divorce, her leaving the house, Brandon Hayes' mother disowning him publicly in a church group. One of Melissa's former friends commented on an old photo from July. Melissa at the hospital 4th of July picnic, smiling, Brandon in the background. Was this when you were cheating on your husband? Just curious. Melissa's Facebook became a graveyard of comments, people digging through her old posts, recontextualizing everything. You posted about date night, but Rob said on his page he was home with the kids that night. Who was the date with? The audacity to post about family values while destroying your family. She deleted everything. Facebook, Instagram, everything. Gone. Brandon's social media got hit too. His gym buddy posted, "Bro, you really slept with a married woman? With kids? That's low even for you." Tag 38 people from their gym. The post had 200 comments within hours. His ex-wife commented, "This is why I left him. Serial cheater. Hope it was worth your career, Brandon." The hospital grapevine is vicious. Within a week, everyone at St. Vincent knew. Melissa stopped showing up for shifts, called in sick for a week straight, then just stopped calling. Brandon showed up but got the cold shoulder from everyone. Nurses refused to work with him. Doctors requested different cardiologists for consults. My kid's friends' parents found out. That was the hardest part. Sophie, now 8, came home from school in tears one day in mid-January. "Dad, Emma asked me if it's true that Mom cheated on you. Everyone's talking about it. I'm so embarrassed." I knelt down to her level. "Sophie, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. You didn't do anything wrong. Mom made bad choices. That's on her, not you. But everyone knows. Everyone's looking at me weird." "I know, sweetheart. I'm sorry. This is one of the hard parts of what Mom did. It doesn't just hurt me and her. It hurts you and Michael too. But the people who matter, the people who really care about you, they'll still be your friends." She hugged me, cried into my shoulder. Michael, age 6, handled it differently. He got quiet, stopped talking at school. His teacher called me in for a conference. "Michael hasn't spoken in class in 2 weeks. He plays alone at recess. Yesterday during art class, he drew a picture. I think you should see it." She handed me a piece of construction paper, a house, split down the middle with a thick black line. On one side, 3 stick figures labeled Dad, Sophie, me. On the other side, 1 stick figure labeled Mom with dark scribbles all around her. My heart broke. February 15th, the courtroom, the preliminary hearing, Lewis and Clark County Courthouse. Judge Thomas Morrison presiding. Melissa showed up with her lawyer, Richard Chen, expensive suit, Bozeman firm. She'd borrowed money from her parents to afford him. She looked terrible, lost 25 pounds since Christmas. Hair unwashed, just pulled back in a ponytail. Dark circles under her eyes. Makeup couldn't hide how destroyed she looked. My lawyer, David Walsh, sat next to me. George Patterson sat in the gallery, technically as a witness, but also as moral support. Melissa's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we're here to contest the validity of the prenuptial agreement presented by the plaintiff. My client contends that the prenup signed in April 2015 was executed under duress. Her father-in-law, William Mitchell, was terminally ill and mentally compromised. He pressured both parties to sign immediately, or he would not transfer the ranch to his son. My client signed under protest, but had no choice. Her husband would lose his inheritance otherwise." Judge Morrison looked at me. "Mr. Mitchell, do you have the prenuptial agreement?" David stood. "Your Honor, we have the original prenuptial agreement, signed, dated, and notarized on April 20th, 2015. George Patterson stood up from the gallery. "Your Honor, may I approach?" "And you are?" "George Patterson, Your Honor. I was William Mitchell's attorney for 36 years. I've been holding this document in my possession since April 29th, 2015, when Mr. Mitchell brought it to my office for safekeeping." The judge nodded. George walked forward with the document. "This is the original prenuptial agreement. Both parties signed willingly. I was present at the signing. Mr. William Mitchell was of sound mind at that time. The cancer had not yet spread to his brain. He was lucid, coherent, and insisted on this prenup to protect the ranch, a family property for 6 generations. Melissa's lawyer objected. Your Honor, my client has her own copy of the prenup with different terms. Your Honor, David interrupted. We have reason to believe Mrs. Mitchell's copy is a forgery. We have video evidence. The courtroom went silent. Video evidence? Judge Morrison leaned forward. Yes, Your Honor. May I present it? Please do. David pulled out a laptop, connected it to the courtroom's display system. The screen came to life. Melissa's face drained of color. She grabbed her lawyer's arm, whispered something frantically. The video played. April 28, 2015, 2:15 a.m. Melissa entering Bill's room, checking Dad's medications, the injection, and then the moment she found the prenup in the nightstand, reading it, pulling out a different document from her purse, switching them, crystal clear, time-stamped, undeniable. The courtroom was silent. You could hear people breathing. When it finished, Judge Morrison looked at Melissa. His expression was granite. Mrs. Mitchell, did you forge a legal document? Her lawyer whispered to her. She said nothing. Mrs. Mitchell, I asked you a question. Still nothing. Your Honor, came a voice from the back of the courtroom. We all turned. District Attorney Sarah Thompson stood up. I didn't even know she was there. Yes, Ms. Thompson. Your Honor, the state has been conducting an investigation into Mrs. Mitchell regarding the death of William Mitchell. The video Mr. Walsh just presented is part of that evidence. Based on our investigation, including medical records, toxicology analysis, and this footage, we have sufficient probable cause. She nodded to two uniformed officers standing by the door. Melissa Ann Mitchell, you're under arrest for criminally negligent homicide, elder abuse under Montana Code 455631, and fraud under Montana Code 45631. The courtroom erupted. Melissa screamed, tried to stand, to run. The officers were there in seconds. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. They cuffed her. She was crying, struggling. Rob, please! I didn't mean to. It was just to help him sleep. Please! I said nothing, just watched. Her lawyer was arguing procedure, something about jurisdiction, but the DA shut him down. They dragged Melissa out. She looked at me one last time as they took her through the courtroom doors. Mascara streaming down her face. Broken. Judge Morrison cleared his throat. Given the circumstances, I'm ruling the prenuptial agreement presented by Mr. Patterson is valid and enforceable. Mrs. Mitchell's claims are denied. The ranch and all associated property remain with Mr. Mitchell. This case is stayed pending the resolution of criminal proceedings. Court is adjourned. The gavel banged. It was over. I walked out of that courtroom in a daze. George had his hand on my shoulder. David was talking about next steps, but I couldn't hear him. All I could think about was Dad, his last 2 days, setting up that camera, getting the prenup to George, knowing he was dying, knowing why he was dying, using his last moments to protect me. He loved you more than his own life, George had said. He was right. February, the exhumation. The criminal investigation moved fast. DA Thompson called me 3 days after Melissa's arrest. Rob, we need to exhume your father's body. My stomach dropped. What? If there are elevated levels of propofol or other sedatives in his system, things that shouldn't be there, we can test for them. Bodies preserve evidence longer than people think, especially in Montana winters. Your father was buried in May 2015. If he was murdered, we can prove it. The word hit me like a punch. Murdered. Yes, murdered. I'm sorry, Rob. I know this is hard, but we need your consent. You have it, whatever it takes. January 15th, 2024. I stood in the Sunset Memorial Cemetery while workers carefully exhumed Dad's casket. Mom held my hand. She was crying. Jen stood behind me, her hand on my shoulder. Tommy next to her, solid and quiet. It took 2 hours. The ground was frozen. The workers had to use special equipment. When they finally lifted the casket out, I almost collapsed. Mom caught me. We're doing this for him, she whispered. We're getting him justice. The casket went to the state medical examiner's office in Billings. 3 weeks later, the toxicology report came back. Elevated levels of propofol, elevated sedatives, lorazepam, midazolam. combinations that would suppress respiratory function in someone with already compromised lung capacity from cancer. The medical examiner's official opinion: manner of death is consistent with administration of respiratory suppressants beyond appropriate palliative care dosing. In combination with underlying terminal cancer, these substances would hasten death by days to weeks. Suspicious circumstances warrant criminal investigation. February 28, 2024. D.A. Thompson called. Rob, we have enough. Grand jury returned an indictment. Criminally negligent homicide, elder abuse, fraud, document forgery. She's looking at 15 to 20 years. What about Brandon? We're investigating him for conspiracy to commit fraud, but it's harder to prove. He knew about her plans to defraud you in the divorce, but he didn't actively participate in the forgery or the other thing. He'll probably lose his medical license, but criminal charges are unlikely. He lost his license? Montana State Medical Board revoked it last week. Ethics violations. The affair itself, using hospital resources, workplace misconduct. He's done as a doctor. Small victories. April, the guilty plea. Melissa's trial was set for June, but in April, her public defender, her parents couldn't afford the Bozeman lawyer anymore, came to the DA with a plea deal. She'll plead guilty to all charges in exchange for 12 years, eligible for parole in 8. The DA called me. It's your call, Rob. We can take this to trial, but there's always risk. A sympathetic jury might see a nurse who made a terrible mistake rather than a murderer. The plea guarantees she serves time. What do you think? I think 12 years is just, and I think your father would want certainty over risk. Take the deal? April 22, 2024. Melissa stood in front of Judge Morrison and entered her plea. Mrs. Mitchell, you understand you're pleading guilty to criminally negligent homicide, elder abuse, and fraud? Yes, Your Honor. Her voice was barely a whisper. And you understand you're facing 12 years in Montana Women's Prison? Yes, Your Honor. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Melissa looked at me. I was sitting in the gallery. She had tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, to Rob, to his family, to my children. I made terrible choices. I hurt people I should have protected. I'm sorry. Judge Morrison didn't look moved. Mrs. Mitchell, you murdered a dying man, a man who trusted you with his care, a man whose son trusted you with his life. I hope you spend every day of your sentence thinking about what you did. 12 years. Take her away. The darkness. You'd think after winning, I'd feel great, vindicated, relieved. I didn't. February through May 2024, I was a mess. The ranch was quiet. Too quiet. The kids, Sophie, now 8, and Michael, 6, were there 3 days a week. The other 4, they were with Melissa's parents, who'd been granted temporary custody during the trial. It was the compromise we'd agreed to. The kids needed stability. But when they were gone, the silence was deafening. I couldn't sleep in the master bedroom, the bed where Melissa and I had slept for 12 years, where we'd conceived our children, where she'd lain next to me while texting her lover. I slept on the couch for 3 months, then finally dragged Dad's old bed from the guest house into the master. Didn't help. The walls remembered. I started drinking. Not a lot at first, but more than before. Couple beers every night after the kids went to bed became a 6-pack. 6-pack became whiskey, neat, at 10 p.m. while watching old John Wayne movies and trying not to think. Work suffered. I was short with Miguel, my foreman, who'd worked for Dad for 20 years. Couldn't focus on herd rotations. Almost missed the spring calving season prep entirely. Tommy had to basically take over for 2 weeks. Tommy pulled me aside one day in April. We were fixing fence on the property line between our ranches. You're not okay, brother. I'm fine. You look like hell. You snapped at Miguel yesterday for no reason. Miguel, who's worked here 20 years and never done anything wrong. And you almost forgot to call the vet for the vaccine shipment. That's not you. I'm just tired. You're not tired. You're drowning. And I get it. But you need help. Real help. What kind of help? Therapy? Medication? I don't know. But something. Because if you keep going like this, you're going to lose the ranch anyway. Not to Melissa, to yourself. I started therapy in May 2024. Dr. Sarah Williams. Office above the pharmacy in town. First session, she asked the obvious question. What brought you here? I won. I destroyed my ex-wife. got her arrested for killing my father, protected my ranch, kept my kids, everything. But I don't feel like I won. I feel like I'm drowning. She nodded, didn't look surprised. Tell me about it. So I did. All of it. The betrayal, the investigation, the Christmas morning reveal, the courtroom arrest, watching them exhume my father's body, Melissa's guilty plea. When I finished, she asked, "Do you regret your choices?" No. Then why are you here? Because I'm angry all the time. At everyone. At everything. I thought justice would fix me. It didn't. It just ended things. But I'm still broken. My kids are broken. And I think I broke them worse trying to get revenge. That's when I started crying. 44 years old, sitting in a therapist's office, sobbing in front of a stranger. Doctor. Williams handed me tissues. Waited. Then said something that stuck with me. Revenge closes a chapter, but it doesn't heal the wound. That takes different work. Grief work, trauma work, forgiveness work. Not forgiving her, but forgiving yourself for being human enough to be hurt by this. Over the next few months, we worked on it. The anger, the trust issues, the trauma, the guilt over how the kids were affected. But July was bad. Real bad. July 3rd. Ikesizindori. 3rd. I had a moment where I stood in my garage at 3 a.m., staring at my truck, thinking about how easy it would be. Start the engine, close the garage door, go to sleep. Just stop feeling this constant crushing weight on my chest. I didn't do it, but I thought about it for 11 minutes, timed on my phone because I needed to know if I was serious or just dramatic. 11 minutes is too long to think about that. That scared me more than anything Melissa had done. I called Tommy, 3:15 a.m. Hello? Groggy, confused. I need help. Real help. Where are you? Home, in my garage. Don't move, I'm coming. He was there in 8 minutes, drove over in his pajamas and boots, walked into my garage, saw me sitting on the floor next to my truck, engine off, and just sat down next to me. Didn't ask questions, just sat there. I was thinking about starting the truck, I said. I know. I didn't do it. I know. But I thought about it. I know, brother. But you called me instead. That's what matters. He stayed, made breakfast at 6 a.m., called Dr. Williams for an emergency session. Stayed with me until she could see me that afternoon. Dr. Williams added more sessions, twice a week. Started me on Prozac, small dose. Referred me to a psychiatrist for medication management. Diagnosed with major depression and complex PTSD. Your body went through trauma, she explained. Betrayal trauma is real. It affects the same parts of the brain as physical assault. Then you discovered your father was murdered. Then you spent months in high alert mode, investigating, planning, executing a comprehensive takedown. You've been in fight or flight for over a year. Your system is crashing now that the threat is gone. This is normal, horrible, but normal. How long will this last? Depends, with medication and therapy, 6 months to a year for significant improvement. But trauma isn't something you get over. You learn to live with it, integrate it, make peace with it. The kids' pain. Sophie and Michael were struggling too. Sophie started having nightmares, bedwetting again after being dry for 3 years. She'd wake up screaming about monsters coming to take me away. Her therapist, Dr. Jennifer Holt, specializes in kids, called me in August. Sophie's carrying a lot of guilt. She thinks if she'd been a better daughter, maybe her mom wouldn't have done what she did. That's not true. That's not true at all. I know, you know, but 8-year-olds don't have the cognitive development to separate adult actions from their own behavior. She needs to hear from you that this wasn't her fault. Michael stopped talking at school. His teacher called me in for a conference. Michael hasn't spoken in class in 2 weeks. He plays alone at recess. Yesterday during art class, he drew another picture. You should see it. Another house, split down the middle. This time, on Mom's side, there was nothing, just black scribbles. Dad's side had 3 stick figures, but they all had frowns. He drew another one today during free time. She pulled out a second paper. This one showed a stick figure labeled Me, standing in the middle of the split. Arms stretched out to both sides, trying to hold the house together. I lost it. Right there in his classroom, I started crying. He thinks it's his job to fix this, his teacher said softly. He thinks if he's good enough, you and his mom will get back together. I sat both kids down in September, living room floor, Same place where everything had ended 9 months ago. Guys, I need to tell you something important. Sophie hugged her knees. Michael stared at his hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Not for leaving your mom. She made her choices. But for how I handled it. For making it so public. For not thinking about how it would hurt you. For being so focused on being angry that I forgot to just be your dad. Sophie started crying. You were hurt, Daddy. You were sad. I am. But that's not an excuse, sweetie. You were hurt too. You are hurt too, and I made it worse. I should have protected you from all this, and instead, I put it on display. That was wrong. Michael finally looked up. His eyes were red. Do you still love us? The question broke me. More than anything in this entire world, more than the ranch, more than anything, you and Sophie are the only good things I have left. I'm sorry I made you doubt that. Are you gonna leave us too? Never, never, ever. I promise I'm not going anywhere. Michael launched himself at me, hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Sophie joined. We all cried together on the living room floor. First real cry since the sentencing. First time it felt okay to cry. First time I felt like maybe, possibly, I could be their dad again, instead of just a hollow version of myself going through motions. Melissa's aftermath. I got updates through the victim notification system. Didn't ask for them, but they came anyway. Melissa was at Montana Women's Prison in Billings. She'd lost 40 pounds. Was in the medical unit for 2 months due to adjustment difficulties. Prison code for suicide watch. Brandon, medical license revoked permanently by the state board. Working at a 24-hour fitness gym in Billings now. Makes $15 an hour. Lives in a studio apartment. His mother really did disown him, wrote him out of her will, changed it officially. Told him in a letter that was read during some family mediation thing. I only know because Betty Hayes sent me a copy. Said she wanted me to know she kept her word. Part of me felt not satisfaction, something heavier, guilt, shame, like maybe I'd gone too far. Don't, Dr. Williams said when I brought it up. You didn't make Melissa cheat. You didn't make her kill your father. You responded to what she did. Her consequences are the result of her choices, not your reaction. But she's suffering. So are you. So are your kids. So was your father, in his final hours, knowing what she was doing to him. She made choices that hurt people. Those people, you, responded. That's not your fault. You're allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to demand justice. Stop taking responsibility for her pain. But what if I made it worse? What if I could have just divorced quietly and what? She'd still be planning to take the ranch. Your father's murder would have gone undiscovered. Brandon would still be a doctor, free to do this to someone else's family. Sometimes quietly just means letting evil prosper in darkness. I asked the victim advocate to stop sending me updates in November. I don't need to know anymore. She's paying for what she did. That's enough. I need to focus on healing, not tracking her suffering. They agreed. Redemption and hope. October 2024. 16 months post-separation. 10 months since Melissa's sentencing. I wasn't looking to date, wasn't ready, wasn't interested. But life has a funny way. I was at the farm supply store in Bozeman, arguing with the kid at the counter about fence wire. Sir, this 12 gauge will work fine for your cattle. No, it won't. I need 10 gauge for corner posts, or my bulls will push through in spring. I've been ranching since before you were born, son. A woman's voice behind me. He's right, Tyler. 12 gauge is trash for corners. Get the 10 gauge from back storage. Tell Marcus I sent you. The kid scurried off. I turned around. She was about 40, blonde hair and a practical ponytail, wearing Carhartts and muddy boots. Ranch owner or serious hand, couldn't tell which. Thanks, I said. No problem. Too many city kids working here now. They don't know cattle from goats. She smiled. You're Rob Mitchell, right? I heard about... I'm sorry, that's probably weird to bring up. It's fine. Yeah, that was me. You are? Kate Morrison. My family has the Morrison Ranch, borders Tommy's place on the south side. We've probably seen each other at livestock auctions. Oh, the Morrison Ranch. I knew of them. Been there 4 generations, almost as long as us. Good people. Your dad was Bill Mitchell? The one who... She trailed off, uncomfortable. Yeah, that was my dad. I'm really sorry. For what it's worth, I've been through something similar. Different details, but my ex-husband cheated with my sister. Whole family implosion. 5 years ago now, so I get it. The aftermath part. Something in the way she said it. Not pity, not gossip. Just understanding. That's rough. I'm sorry. It was, but you get through it. Or you learn to, anyway. Doesn't ever really go away, but it gets lighter. We grabbed coffee after loading our trucks. Just as friends. No expectations. She paid for her own, insisted. But we kept running into each other. Farm supply store, livestock auctions, the feed mill, the vet's office. After the 6th coincidence, I asked if she wanted to have dinner. Are you asking me on a date? Maybe? I don't know. I'm really bad at this. Haven't dated since I was 28. I'll go to dinner with you, but fair warning. I'm kind of a mess. Still dealing with my own shit. Trust issues for days. Same. Maybe we can be broken together? That's the worst pickup line I've ever heard. I know. Did it work? Unfortunately, yes. Building something new. We took it slow. Really slow. First few dates were just dinner at the diner, talking, venting about our exes, comparing therapy notes. So you tried the cognitive behavioral therapy stuff too? She asked over pie one night. Yep. Felt stupid as hell, but it actually helped. The whole thoughts aren't facts thing, right? Like, just because I think everyone's going to betray me doesn't mean they will. Exactly. After 2 months, we kissed. In the parking lot of the diner after dinner. Awkward. We both laughed about how rusty we were. Dr. Williams asked in therapy, "How does this feel different from your marriage?" Honest, we're both fucked up and we're not pretending otherwise. She knows about Melissa, about Dad, about everything. I know about her ex and her sister. No illusions, no pretending to be perfect. That's healthy. It's weird. Good weird. By December 2024, exactly a year after the Christmas from Hell, Kate and I were officially together. The kids met her in January 2025. Casual. Ran into her at the livestock show. Totally actually accidental this time. Sophie liked her immediately. Dad, she knows about barrel racing. Can she teach me? If she wants to, sure. Kate smiled. I'd love to. Michael was harder. He was protective, suspicious of anyone dating me. Are you going to hurt my dad? He asked Kate once. Blunt. 6-year-old honesty. Kate knelt down to his level, looked him in the eye. I'm going to try really hard not to, but if I do, you have permission to tell me I'm being a jerk. Deal? Deal? Kate had a daughter too, Emma, 12, from her previous marriage. Lived with Kate full-time. Her ex had moved to Seattle, barely in the picture. First time all the kids met was at Kate's ranch. Awkward. Sophie and Michael were quiet. Emma was wary, but Sophie broke the ice. You have horses! Emma's face lit up. Yeah, want to see them? They bonded over horses. Michael showed Emma his Pokemon card collection. By the end of the afternoon, they were playing together like they'd known each other for years. March 2025, Kate and I had our first real fight. She'd gone to a ranching conference in Billings. Didn't text for 8 hours. She'd told me her phone died, and the conference was all day. But I saw pictures on her Facebook, including one with a male rancher I didn't recognize. My brain went into panic mode. Who's that? I asked when she got home. Tried to sound casual. Failed. Who? The guy in the photo. From the conference. Oh, Aaron? He's a friend from ranching circles. He was teaching a session on rotational grazing techniques. You didn't mention you'd be seeing him. I didn't think to mention it. Rob, he's gay. Married to his husband for 15 years. They have 3 kids. I realized how crazy I sounded. I'm sorry. That's my shit, not yours. You didn't do anything wrong. I get it. She sat down next to me, took my hand. But you have to choose. Be controlled by your past or build a future. I'm not Melissa. I'm not going to cheat on you. But if you can't trust me, and I mean really trust me, not just say you trust me, this won't work. She was right. I had to choose. I chose the future. By June 2025, 18 months after serving Melissa, I was genuinely happy. Not performing happiness, not going through motions, actually happy. Not because Kate fixed me, I did the work to fix myself. Therapy, medication, honest conversations with my kids, processing the grief and anger and betrayal. Kate was just a bonus, a really good bonus. Full circle, August 2025. Sophie's elementary school graduation ceremony. 5th grade moving up to middle school. Melissa was allowed to attend. Good behavior in prison. Supervised release for family events. 2 corrections officers with her. I hadn't seen her in a year and a half. She looked different, older, hair completely gray now. She'd stopped dyeing it. Prison had aged her a decade, thin, wearing civilian clothes they had allowed for the ceremony, but her eyes were clearer than they'd been in years. Sober. Present. She congratulated Sophie, hugged her. Sophie hugged back, stiff, uncomfortable. Melissa cried, then she approached me. Kate squeezed my hand and stepped back. "I'll be right over there." Melissa and I stood there. Awkward, the corrections officers watching from a respectful distance. "Can we talk, just for a minute?" "We don't have anything to talk about." "Please, I need to say something." I sighed, nodded, stepped to the side. She took a breath. "I'm sorry for everything. I know that doesn't fix anything. I know you'll never forgive me, but I need you to know that I know I destroyed everything. Our family, your father, your trust, everything. And I live with that every single day." I looked at her, really looked. She was sincere, broken, but sincere. They make us take classes in prison about accountability, about how our choices hurt people, about facing what we did instead of making excuses. I finally get it. I finally understand what I did, what I took from you, from our kids. I appreciate you saying that. You're with someone new. I saw her. She seems nice. She is. Are you happy? Very. She smiled, sad but genuine. I'm glad. You deserve to be happy. I'm sorry I couldn't be the person who made you happy. I'm sorry I was the person who destroyed you instead. Melissa, we're not friends. We're never going to be. But I don't hate you anymore. I don't think about you much at all, honestly. I've moved on. And I hope someday you find peace with what you did. Thank you for that. For not hating me. That's more than I deserve. It's not for you. It's for me. Hating you was killing me. Holding on to that anger was poisoning everything good in my life. So I let it go. Not forgiveness, just letting go. That's fair. Good luck, Melissa. I hope you use your time inside to actually change, to actually become someone different. I'm trying. We nodded at each other. That was it. No hugging, no closure moment from a movie. Just 2 people who used to be married, acknowledging each other's existence, then moving on. Real closure. The New Life, November 2025, present day. Status update. Me. Dating. Kate seriously. Talking about moving in together, combining our ranches, making one operation. Would make sense economically and logistically. The kids are excited about it. Sophie, now. 9, thriving. Straight A's in school. Started barrel racing with Kate. Wants to compete next summer. I want to be a veterinarian so I can help animals on our ranch, Dad. Proud doesn't even begin to cover what I feel. Michael, now 7. Opening up more. Talkative again. Has friends at school. Plays soccer. Shockingly good at it. Still sees his therapist monthly. Recently told me, I'm glad Mom's getting better in prison, but I'm also glad she doesn't live with us. Complex feelings. Age appropriate. I'm okay with that. Melissa. Serving year 3 of 12. Eligible for parole in 5 years. Sees the kids every 3 months on supervised visits. Relationship improving slowly. She's working in the prison library, taking college courses online. Seems genuinely remorseful. But she's not my problem anymore. Brandon Hayes. Last I heard he moved to Idaho, still working at a gym. Lost everything. Medical license, career, family, reputation. I genuinely don't think about him much. Don't care to. Kate Morrison. Best thing I never planned for. She's patient with my baggage. Calls me on my shit when I need it. Loves my kids. Her daughter Emma fits into our chaos perfectly. We're building something real, slow, careful, honest. Built on truth instead of illusions. Life isn't perfect. I still have bad days. Still see Dr. Williams every 2 weeks. Still take my medication. Still have moments where I think about everything that happened and feel that weight in my chest. But I'm better. Genuinely better. The ranch is thriving. We had a great calving season. Herd's healthy. Prices are good. The kids are happy and healing. I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who knows all my broken parts and stays anyway. My father would be proud, not of the revenge, I think he'd have complicated feelings about that, but of the healing, of me protecting his legacy, of me being a good father to his grandchildren, of me choosing to build something new instead of staying stuck in the past. That's enough. That's more than enough. Epilogue. If you've made it this far, thank you. This was longer than I planned, messier than I wanted, but it needed to be told. Some of you will say I went too far, that I should have just divorced quietly. Let the criminal justice system handle the murder investigation without the Christmas morning reveal, without sending binders to Brandon's mother, without making it so public. Maybe you're right. My therapist says revenge doesn't heal. She's not wrong. But do I regret it? Not the evidence gathering, not protecting my ranch, not getting justice for my father, not ensuring Melissa faced real consequences. Do I regret the impact on my kids? Every single day. Would I do it differently knowing what I know now? Probably. I'd be more careful about how it affected Sophie and Michael. I'd get them into therapy immediately instead of waiting. I'd handle the execution with more thought to their experience. But hindsight is 20/20. What I learned: trust your gut. I knew something was wrong for months. I ignored the signs. By the time I started investigating, the affair had been going on for months. If something feels off, it probably is. Document everything. Evidence saved me. Speculation wouldn't have. The texts, the photos, the timeline. Without documentation, it's just he said, she said. Justice and healing are different things. One is external, one is internal. Getting justice for my father and protecting my ranch was external. It closed a chapter, but healing, that took therapy, medication, time, and work. Justice didn't heal me. It just ended the threat. Kids are resilient, but not invincible. Sophie and Michael survived this. They're doing okay now, but it marked them, changed them. They're in therapy, they have trust issues, they have complicated feelings about their mother. I could have protected them better from the fallout. That's on me. Therapy isn't weakness, it's survival. Without Dr. Williams, I don't think I'd be here. I certainly wouldn't be healthy. Asking for help was the hardest and best thing I did. Revenge has a cost. Sometimes you pay it even when you win. I won everything: the ranch, custody, justice for Dad. But I paid for it with my mental health, my kids' trauma, and a year of my life consumed by anger. Was it worth it? I don't know. Ask me in 10 years. Life goes on. Even when you think it can't. Even when you're sure you'll never be happy again. Life finds a way. I found Kate. I rebuilt my relationship with my kids. The ranch is still standing. My father's legacy is protected. That's something. To anyone going through betrayal right now, you'll survive. It won't feel like it. Those first few months, hell, that first year, you'll think you're dying, but you will survive. Get therapy. Document everything. Protect your kids. And give yourself grace. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to want revenge. You're allowed to protect what's yours. But remember, revenge might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't heal you. Only you can do that. To the cheaters reading this, your partner might know. They might be building a binder right now. They might be smarter than you think. They might be documenting everything you're doing. And when it drops, and it will drop, don't say you weren't warned. The lies always come out. Always, to everyone. Life is too short to stay with someone who doesn't value you, who lies to you, who uses you. You deserve better. Your kids deserve better. My father spent his last 2 days alive protecting me from a threat he saw coming. He installed that camera knowing he might not survive to tell me himself. That's love. That's sacrifice. That's what family means. I'm living the life he wanted for me, protecting the land he protected, raising my kids with the values he taught me, teaching them that legacy matters, truth matters, protecting what's yours matters, and somehow, despite everything, I'm happy again. That's the best revenge, living well. Peace.